Welcome back to Spiral Tree Entertainment. Today, we're going to be talking about the Family Guy episode, Saturated Fat Guy, and how such a weird little episode of Family Guy has affected me as a person, the story of why, how I've connected to this episode, and sort of explain a little bit about myself, how I've connected to this episode, and hopefully help you through an issue that I'm going through so that we can connect together through emotion and go through a journey together. If that works for you, feel free to leave a like on this video down below. Dislike it if you didn't like it. Your opinions genuinely matter to me. Subscribe if you want to see more. Leave a comment down below. And with that, let's get started. So, the reason why I want to talk about Saturated Fat Guy is kind of because I feel like I am a saturated fat guy. In an episode that, in the grand scheme of all the episodes of Family Guy, genuinely doesn't matter to 99.999% of people. It's one of those episodes that is forgotten, and most people aren't even aware is an episode in the season to begin with. But to me, has a special place in my heart. And that's because I was watching every episode of Family Guy with my wife for a video that I'm working on and have been working on for a very long time, which is ranking every episode of Family Guy. It's something I've always wanted to do. It's one of those ranking type videos, and I have the ability to do it. I'll have one for Family Guy, one for South Park. They're being worked on in the background. You always do what you want to do as well as what you think will do well on YouTube. And I remember watching this with my wife, and she was able to laugh at the scenes relating to Peter when he's confronted with the health food, dealing with being confronted with his way of life changing relating to food, wanting to stay in his own food bubble, getting a food truck and growing overweight to the point where he can't leave the food truck because of his refusal to change relating to food, and being humiliated in front of the Bing car because his food issues just got out of control. And when you phrase it like that, it doesn't sound like a funny episode when you just put it into the pain points and the story beats of the episode. And I was watching her laugh, and I was watching this episode with her, and I realized in that moment that I was Peter. I was the saturated fat guy. I have been dealing with my own eating disorder that has been getting out of control, and I have not been willing to work on it my whole life, and I've been stuck in my own metaphorical food truck and have just been growing and growing because of the fact that I can't escape my own hold that food has on me. So I wasn't able to laugh at this simple episode. In fact, it made me really sad. And in TV, just like anything, when it brings you emotion, you should study that emotion and see why you feel that way, so you have a sense of some level of emotional maturity. And that way you can grow and move forward. And after that day, I really thought to myself, why did the episode Saturated Fat Guy of Family Guy affect me so much? And why couldn't I just enjoy the silly little Family Guy episode like my wife? And it sucked. It affected me because there are moments of this episode that I did enjoy. So I took it upon myself to say, I need to work on myself. I need to become a better person. I need to improve my relationship with food because it's affecting my enjoyment of other things in life. So I have been, over the course of this last year. It's not a perfect situation, but I have slowly become more healthy with myself mentally, and then therefore have been able to tackle the physical issues. And now I have circled back and watched this episode a couple of times over the course of the year it's been since I watched this episode the first time during my watch-a-thon with my wife, to see if my feelings have changed, if I truly have grown over the year. And the first rewatch, it was now an enjoyment of the Meg section of the episode, where Meg joins a roller derby and her brother is worried about her safety. So she just wants to do the thing and he wants to protect her. And it's just this back and forth of what's happening there that ends with them supporting each other, and it's beautiful in its own Family Guy way. Yeah, there's jokes that don't really hit for me. There's a creepy Shutterbug joke, but the core of that message is nice, and it reminded me that sometimes you got to get out of the way of the dangers waiting for you to confront yourself, to bring yourself to a place where you stop hindering yourself and move forward. So I took steps in the right direction. I tried not to overeat to the point of overindulgence, and that's made me feel better. And now I rewatched the episode again after a couple of months later, and I found myself being able to laugh at the sections where Peter is making himself the bad food in the car, the gas station panini, the most popular part of this episode, because just months ago, I would do that. I would hide food that I thought was bad from the people around me, and I would just put every single bad possible thing in my body because I felt bad about myself and I didn't want anyone to know what I was doing. And then the third and fourth time brought more and more noticings of the improvements that I have brought myself, where now I'm not throwing up when I'm overeating to the point where I'm stuffing myself. I'm not ashamed to let people know that I'm making the mistakes that I used to make along the way of my journey. And I'm talking with other people, my wife, you all, people around me, about my trials and tribulations, the struggles that I've had and what I have to do better. And I'm not perfect at this because I've spent 20 years of my life not doing well at this, and the past 13 doing absolutely worse at this. And there's a scene now where I can laugh at when Peter gets stuck in the truck because I know it won't happen to me anymore. That won't be my future. And there's a moment where Lois tells Peter at the end of the episode that all she wants him to do is to be alive for as long as she can have him for. And that's a very similar thing and motivation that my wife wants me to have, to be better and healthier. And that's what I want for my wife too. And there's nothing but a beautiful sentiment and feeling that I feel from that. And yeah, it's opposed by Peter tried a wholesome, healthy meal once and then ate like poop for the rest of his life. But for me, this episode was partially a wake-up call because that was the future I was going to end up with. That's where I was going to be. And my wife has helped me through this journey. But also, I grew up in a large family home. My mom adopted 10 kids and then myself. So I was grown up by television. And I've been watching Family Guy since I was a little kid. And I grew up with this show. And it's an emotional part of my life. So yeah, it's silly and stupid to have an episode of Family Guy be a wake-up call, emotional realization moment for a grown man. But it was. And so I wanted to make sure that I shared my situation with others, because if I could help at least one person, I'm going to. And it's through the guise of a TV show that, through its ups and downs, I still absolutely love. And I'm glad that I have been able to make the change for the better, because I could have left with much more permanent damage before making these changes. I'm only walking away with 2 ulcers in my stomach and the attempt to do the right thing going forward. And it could have been so much worse. My electrolytes could have been all sorts of messed up. I could have had damage to my heart. I could have lost so much of my hair. It could have been so many things that have gone wrong. But I'm truly grateful for the people around me. I'm truly grateful for the circumstances that have led for me to be able to grow as a person. But I'm also grateful for this singular episode of Family Guy to sort of work in my weird brain to give me that emotional awakening that I needed to just take the step forward. And I thank you all for staying through this episode of Spiral Tree Entertainment. I really hope you liked this episode. It was not an easy one for me to make because it's stuff that I'm currently going through. But again, if you did like it, please hit that like button down below because it lets me know that you actually did like it. Subscribe if you want to see more from me. If this is a direction you want me to take more and more in the future, like getting more and more emotional in videos, please let me know. I will do that for you in the comments down below. I will be making more gaming videos because I've been spending a lot more time playing video games with my wife. And I'm going to be making more movie reviews because I miss making 10-minute reviews. It was kind of fun. But I'm going to change up the format a little bit on how I did it before. It's going to be a time amount, 10, 12, 15-minute reviews. You get the point before I ramble too much. And lastly, like always, I thank you for your time because it's valuable and you did not have to stay to the end of the video, but I appreciate the fact that you did, and I hope that I've earned the right to see you in the next video. Goodbye.